Secret mental techniques. 3. With the increasingly frequent use of our conscious minds, it's been allowing us to realize that we spend our lives creating all kinds of feelings of guilt that, when combined with our thoughts, we produce very powerful destructive spirals that give rise to extremely harmful emotions for our goals. We are so full of these spirals of guilt that we feel compelled to pass these emotions on to others. We do this as often as possible. We live looking for excuses to impose these feelings of guilt on others. We do it with our partners, with our parents, with our children, with our friends, with our co-workers. To finish soon, we take every opportunity that comes our way to do it in the way that does the most damage. One of the most powerful laws in this universe is the law of karma, which establishes that everything we cause to others has to happen to ourselves. Consequently, to begin to eliminate all the harmful spirals that we have been building throughout our lives, first we have to develop strategies to stop imposing them on others. Including, we have to look for ways to help them eliminate their own nefarious spirals of guilt. We have to keep in our conscious mind what Jesus often repeated to his disciples, that humans have inconceivable powers. And as Dr. Werner de la Garza says, the other side of the equation implies that we are almost constantly developing enormous impediments to not being able to count on these powers. When we begin to implement these secret mental techniques of not imposing feelings of guilt on others, we realize that it is very difficult to change our toxic behaviors, because we are very convinced that with these pseudo-correctives we are producing benefits for them, despite the fact that reality shows the opposite in multiple ways. Another issue we discovered is that most of our traumas come from the imposition of feelings of guilt from the people closest to us. Mainly when we were kids. We have to recognize that these impositions are extremely degrading, and this destroys our self-confidence, our self-admiration, our self-love, and many other personal qualities. Likewise, according to the thoughts we assign to these denigrations, are the amounts of harmful effects that we produce, as self-repugnance, as self-hatred, and as many other extremely toxic feelings. Most children deify their parents, and when these attacks come from people we deify as our parents, our older brothers, our teachers, our priests, these attacks become much more devastating and become what we know as traumas. It should not be forgotten that as we carry all these mental processes subconsciously, we don't realize what's going on and the damage we're causing to ourselves and others. Our degree of subconsciousness reaches such a degree that we become completely convinced that these impositions of feelings of guilt are corrective systems, and that if we have some compassion, we must also apply it to others. These mental models of convictions are known as paradigms. And as we're realizing, they are defectively constructed and we frequently use them in multiple actions. And with it, we're not just affecting everyone we come in contact with, but mainly we apply them in our relationships with ourselves. One of the priority approaches, as we have mentioned before, it is living by improving our relationships with ourselves. It is a fact that there is no absolute truth or absolute lie. Try to tell the biggest lie and you won't be able to, because it will have parts of veracity. Likewise, it is a fact that the human race is not perfect, but he lives perfecting himself day by day. In retrospect, we have corrected all kinds of extremely irrational behaviors. We have learned to live together and to respect each other and even love each other more than 10 different species. The list of our accomplishments would need more than 100 programs like this just to mention them. Consequently, We have to learn to study ourselves with other paradigms, without making comparisons with others and allowing ourselves to generate more and more amounts of self-confidence, of self-admiration, of self-love, of self-recognition of our achievements, and even of self-acceptance of our vulnerabilities. With all this, we are identifying the magnitude of the obstacles that we must eliminate, as well as the multiple ways in which these innumerable forms of slavery are expressed. We have to recognize that our human life, because of this, it has consisted of going from one hell to another with very small breaks. Academic studies show us that most people, despite the fact that they have multiple privileges, however they live their lives, confronting all kinds of emotional and behavioral hells. Suicide statistics of alcohol addictions, drugs, pornography, they are proof of these hells that we are creating for ourselves. The best thing we can do with others is by our example, showing them how to improve relationships with ourselves. We live much happier lives, achieving wonderful things. We have to forget about carrying out pseudo-correctives for the time being. Not everyone is ready to be helped, and at first it is advisable to refrain from socializing a little. It should not be forgotten that at the beginning of this program, the worst enemy of our conscious mind was our subconscious mind. As long as we do not sufficiently strengthen the relationship between these two minds, we can't be sure that our subconscious mind isn't going to sabotage us with the help of the subconscious minds of others. For many years, our subconscious mind was the queen of our organism. And although now, in this democracy, our subconscious mind has more riches and privileges, she does not forget that she was queen, and therefore, it will be tempted to displace our conscious mind. Don't forget to send us your comment. Their feedback is invaluable to us. This is the way of telling us in which area we have to focus on your personal development. If secret mental techniques are already helping you, then join the club of secret mental techniques, where they will be able to carry out super chats with doctors in quantum physics. And this will allow them to take their personal development to the next level. Send us an email with your name, your city of origin, and your email to the following email: mentalstechniques@gmail.com.